Call to order the Common Council meeting for Wednesday, February 18th, 2026. Roll call, please. It's always in order. Okay, let the record reflect the quorum is present. The gentlemen from the 2nd and the 10th are excused. At this time, I'll ask everyone to please stand for a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Can I have a motion on your laptop for approval of the minutes of the meeting held February 2nd, 2026? Moved and second. Any changes or corrections? Seeing none. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Please continue.
We have 6 citizens' comments. The first one is Nick Prorock.
Just need your name and home address for the record, please.
Nicholas Prorock, 8858 Sheridan Road. I'm here again to talk about the data center, but before I talk about the data center, I'd like to talk about the intersection of 37th Avenue and Van Buren. There have been several close calls, and I'd like the Common Council to look at that intersection and see if we can put up a stop sign or some yield signs so that cars just don't go right through into each other. It's an accident waiting to happen. Okay. And I know since I started talking, many of you have probably been wondering, when is this guy's birthday? Well, it's today, so thank you all for coming. I appreciate it. Remember in the early 1900s when Americans were noticeably experiencing negative impacts of living near heavy polluters, specifically smelters? Smelters provided jobs, provided resources like copper, and city leadership was congratulating themselves on the industriousness that was part of their towns. Simultaneously, Americans were dying, suffering respiratory disease, getting cancer because of smelters. Children were experiencing behavioral problems and cognitive impairment. Lead and arsenic levels in the soil and in the blood of the people who lived in the surrounding areas was exceptionally high. In the 1920s, when smelters saw the connection between pollution and their operations on the surrounding neighborhoods, the smelters stopped their operations to do what was in the best interest of the community. Investigations took place, environmental remediation began, and thankfully, the smelters were truthful about what was occurring, and they were quick to fix the problems. Except that's not what happened. Smelters like the one in Tacoma, Washington, continued to operate for more than another 50 years. Investigations done internally were hidden from the public, and it took until 1963 for Congress to pass the Clean Air Act. It's still recommended that children in that area don't play in the dirt because of risk of exposure to heavy metals. The worst part is that the smelting companies knew about the danger from the beginning, but they lied about it because smelting was lucrative. Only after evidence continued to mount did they offer half-hearted solutions that never solved the problem. We still don't know the long-term effects of PFAS, forever chemicals, or exposure to natural gas. We could already be experiencing the impacts of pollution in Kenosha today. Air pollution from the methane plants, forever chemicals for the cooling systems, and groundwater contamination from electronic waste. These are the real threats with data centers, and they're ever present. Like smelters, data centers are promising jobs, providing services we need, and we are being assured that there won't be any environmental impacts. Does that sound familiar? In this moment, this administration's path towards the future will inevitably condemn us to repeat the same toxic mistakes of the past. If you do not consider the cost to our residents and the cost to our environment, you will miss this opportunity in the future that you want for Kenosha will slip through your fingers. Smelters of the 20th century made vast amounts of money for themselves while causing tremendous destruction and darkness that America is still cleaning up. Don't let data centers be our 21st century smelters. Pass a moratorium on building and figure out how to guarantee our safety. Thank you for your time.
Kevin Rano.
Hello, Kevin Rano, 5621 First Street, Summers. I live less than 1 mile from the first Microsoft data center in Mount Pleasant. It's been under construction for 3 years and is due to open this year. They have already made significant negative impacts to our quality of life. Next, we'll start the noise of the cooling system fans that will run constantly all day and night, every day of the year. There will be a total of 172 fans, 20 feet in diameter. Just what you want to hear on a quiet summer night, right? In addition to this, 39 huge diesel generators will be test run on a regular basis. As government officials, you each share a responsibility to become well-informed on the issues in order to make appropriate decisions and to faithfully represent your constituents. There is currently a bill at our state capitol to freeze all data centers and allow public referendums. Remember that you are elected to represent your residents, not the city of Kenosha. Every municipality wants to increase its tax base, but this must be balanced with the long-term impact on the community and the risk of stranded assets. Be a good neighbor. It should not be an easy choice because, hey, they're just farmers or it'll be at the edge of town and no one will even notice. Ask yourself instead, how would you see it if they wanted to build at the old dog track, Chrysler site, or better yet, the old city hall? Data centers have recently been rejected in Caledonia and DeForest, Wisconsin, and Barrington Hills in Naperville, Illinois. Look at communities that have already been overrun and ruined by data centers. Use these lessons to anticipate legal and ethical traps that you'll certainly be faced with. All of your discussions with the public should include not only the current plan, but an honest projection of what could happen in 10 to 15 years. When you crack the door open, more will come. This is your responsibility. Also look at the high number of different AI players in the centers being built. It appears to be a race to the top. History in the tech field has shown us there will only be a few winners. What will happen to all the losers? Some projects are already failing due to a lack of funding. They may be outdated soon as China is already producing AI results with simpler devices using less electricity and at a significantly lower cost. I'm sure that you've recently heard that Mount Pleasant approved Microsoft to build 15 more data centers beyond the 2 currently under construction. These will spill out on land well beyond the original Foxconn project. They now have permission to build on almost 4 square miles, and they continue to buy more land beyond that project. You should be asking yourselves, why does Microsoft want to build in Kenosha if they have 20 years of work in Mount Pleasant? Will they use this leverage to get a better deal from Kenosha? Are they just trying to block out the competition? Is it to force their new power plant on you or something else? Ultimately, how many full-time Microsoft employees will be stationed at the center? It's normally just a few dozen. This is about what it takes to operate a Culver's restaurant. As a community, why would we devote so much prime land and extensive resources for an unsightly neighbor who will siphon all the profits out of the area? We Energies is already seeking approval to double the number of its power plants just to serve the future centers at Mount Pleasant and Port Washington. When you are pressured to approve a power plant, be aware that you will lose all control over the power grid and pipeline expansion. There's already a planned high voltage line that will run from the southwest side of Racine to the Paris power plant. Your decision may expand this. The electric and gas, transmission, and utility companies each have a right to condemn land for easements and permanent rights of way. Here's a true story. The gas company, in good faith, ran a large high-pressure pipeline 40 miles from Whitewater to Mount Pleasant to serve the Foxconn project. This included easements where mature woodlands were forced to be leveled. When the full scope of the Foxconn project fell through, they did not even hook up to the new pipeline. Unfortunately, the utility is allowed to profit from this mistake for the next 40 years. Many of us will be gone, but our kids will still be paying for it. Do you think that Foxconn or Mount Pleasant went back to the owners 20 and 30 miles west of here to tell them that the work was not needed and to apologize for the woods on the land that their ancestors set aside 100 years ago? Remember that what you decide will affect others near and far and into the future. I'd like to see the hand of the person in here that will hold a meeting with the Uline family to inform them that their woods will be mowed down for a new pipeline or to expand the grid. Or maybe that the corner office will now have a great view of the new power plant.
Kevin, you have 30 seconds.
Okay. In conclusion, I'm asking you go in with your eyes open. There's plenty of information available if you'd like to get up to speed quickly, and I'll stay after this meeting if you'd like to get a start. From from what I've experienced at my home. Thank you all.
Greg Kishline.
I'd like to talk about the DHS detention centers. They're
Greg,
be-
we need your home address for the
Oh,
record,
I'm
please.
sorry, 8638 32nd Avenue. DHS is building these things all around the country. Typically, they buy up large warehouses from 400 to 750,000 square feet, and are converting them over to detention centers so they can deport illegal aliens. We've arrived at a national crossroads, and it calls us to attention. ICE recently purchased 3 warehouses in Pennsylvania, Texas, and Arizona to create a network of detention centers. House Speaker Mike Johnson spoke of the inconvenience of following the Constitution to fill those centers. This is a quote. Imagine if we had to go through the process of getting a judicial warrant. How much time would that take? We don't have enough judges. We don't have enough time. Let's just go around the Constitution. Let me borrow the words of a historian who brings the past to bear on the present better than I can. Boston College professor of history Heather Cox Richardson spoke this past week. ICE bought a building the size of 7 football fields in Surprise, Arizona, outside of Phoenix, for $70 million. But there is increasing criticism of these new warehouses as Americans mobilize against the violence and the abuse of ICE and Border Patrol. On Tuesday, February 3rd, more than 1,000 people turned out for the City Council meeting in Surprise to oppose the establishment of the Federal Detention Center. Officials from Surprise answered concerns about the federal facility with a statement saying the city was not aware that there were efforts underway to purchase the building, was not notified of the transaction by any of the parties involved, and has not been contacted by DHS or any other federal agency about the intended use of the building. It's important to note federal projects are not subject to local regulations such as zoning. Professor Richardson continued. One of the speakers, Phoenix resident Walter Thorndike, and I saw this, a recording on YouTube, reminded the Surprise City Council of Ohrdruf, hope I'm pronouncing that right, the first Nazi camp liberated by U.S. troops on April 4th, 1945. He said this: the U.S. Third Army brought the leading citizens of Ohrdruf to tour the facility, which turned out to be part of the Buchenwald network of concentration camps. A U.S. Army colonel told the German civilians who viewed the scenes, without muttering a word, that they were to blame. One of the Germans replied that what happened in the camp was done by a few people, and you cannot blame all of us. And the American, who could have been any one of our grandfathers, said, this was done by those that the German people chose to lead them, and all are responsible. The morning after the tour, the mayor of Ohrdruf killed himself. And maybe he did not know the full extent of the outrages that were committed in his community, but he knew enough. And we don't know exactly how ICE will use this warehouse, but we know enough. Mr. Thorndike continued, I ask you to consider what the mayor of Ohrdruf might have thought before he died. Maybe he felt like a victim. He might have thought, how is this my fault? I had no jurisdiction over this. Maybe he would have said, this site was not subject to local zoning. What could I do? But I think when he reflected on the suffering that occurred at this camp just outside of town, that those words would have sounded hollow even to him. because in his heart he knew, as we do, that we are all responsible for what happens in our community. Standing here before this council, can I add, the consent of the governed was never more important than it is now.
Josh Maglasing.
Josh Maglasang, 1917 60th Street. Good evening. Hopefully the microphone doesn't disconnect like it did last time. As many of you are aware, I am Josh, and I am a candidate for alderperson for District 3, but I'm not here today to talk about that. I'm here today to talk about a concern that I have as a Kenosian, and that concern is really with regards to the recent uptick in ICE activity that's surrounding our community. In late January, there were confirmed ICE arrests made just south of us in Waukegan. Around that same time, Daryl Maureen, the president of Forward Latino, which is based out of Franklin, warned on PBS Wisconsin's Here and Now that large ICE operations are soon to arrive in Wisconsin. And then just yesterday, Voces de la Frontera confirmed that there were ICE operations taking place in Altoona near Eau Claire. Kenosha has been directly targeted before, and I fear that I may once again see my neighbors outside my front door be taken from their homes and disappeared from their workplaces. I also fear that with what we have seen recently in the events of Minneapolis and the Twin Cities, that they will continue their efforts beyond the homes and workplaces into our schools, into our hospitals, into our places of worship, and beyond. What many of you may not know is I actually come from a mixed family. On my mom's side, a family of immigrants from Europe. On my dad's side, naturalized Americans. I grew up listening to the stories of my great aunts and uncles who were afraid for their lives because they of Asian descent were being taken away and threatened for internment camps. Growing up, my grandfather would tell us stories about why he joined the US Army, and it was solely because he wanted to prove himself as a citizen to the United States. And even then, he feared for his life and for his family lives. I say this because, as Maureen had also said in that interview, quote, "It's time for thoughtful preparation, and it's time for our governments and law enforcement agencies to prepare. And it's time for the people who may be at risk to put things in place." With that said, I urge this council to be proactive and to be prepared. I suggest that this council adopt policies that prohibit ICE from operating in or near our public spaces, including our hospitals, courthouses, government service centers, museums, places of worship, parks, and schools. I also urge this council to work with KPD and local community and neighborhood watch programs to develop a strategic plan that protects Kenoshans if and when ICE is to activate en masse. I thank you guys for this opportunity to express my concern, and I am hopeful that the council will be proactive and will be prepared. Thank you.
Kayla Harbor.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Kayla Harbor, and I live at 6038 23rd Avenue, and I oppose the data center. When I Google, are there any positives to having a data center in your town, it lists 3 reasons, and only 3. Those 3 things are increased tax revenue, 2, job creation, especially during construction, and 3, infrastructure upgrades, the whopping 3. When I Google, are there any negatives to having a data center in your town, the list is much more extensive. 1, extreme water consumption. There are towns all around America near data centers that no longer have running water. 2, high energy demand and costs, especially with the We Energy's proposal that would offload the cost of running the centers onto the citizens. 3, noise pollution. The constant hum of machines and construction noise would be disruptive to those who live nearby. 4, environmental concerns, due to the incredible amount of fossil fuels used to run them. 5, limited economic benefit. It only benefits a very small portion of the population. 6, land use and aesthetics. These buildings are ugly and unnecessarily large, and it's not worth cutting down the trees and plants on the land for these buildings. 7, infrastructure stress. Data centers are notorious for putting too much pressure on local systems like the public water supply or the power grid. That's 7. 7 very valid reasons why this data center is a bad idea. You need to protect the citizens of Kenosha from this data center. It is not worth it. I urge you to be proactive on this issue. Thank you again for this opportunity, and have a great night.
Sage Holloway.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sage Holloway. I live at 4500 10th Ave in Kenosha. And I do want to talk about the data center pretty briefly. I feel like at this point you all know me. You know who I am. You've seen me talk about it before. And quite honestly, I just am here mostly to remind you that I'm not going to shut up anytime soon about it. I do want to just quickly kind of echo some of what Kayla said, honestly. For example, with the University of Michigan Ford School of Public Policy, they cite kind of 4 main points, 5, overall, and they have a very large research paper on this, and I did send it to my alderperson, Eric Hargard. Hope I'm saying that right. Pretty close. Eric what is it? Haugard. Okay. You know what? Now I'm going to change the way that I sound that out of my head. And I appreciate you for responding and for sending me some other resources on where to go for that. That's really appreciate you. Ultimately, they comment about the impossibility of an environmentally friendly data center. That kind of says it all to me. If it's going to be impossible, I've heard a lot about the closed loop system and how Microsoft wants to do it better. But as I said, the last time we were at this meeting, I just don't really trust anything that comes directly from a large corporation trying to defend their actions themselves. Every other source that isn't these companies is pointing to a lot of disadvantages, not advantages. Increased utility rates, high resource consumption, taxpayer burden, and at the end of the day, we need policy solutions that will ensure that these data centers do not decimate our community that we've seen in plenty of other places around the nation so far. Mansfield, Georgia, Hillsboro, Oregon. I know I say Oregon weird, sorry. Memphis, Tennessee, New Carlisle, Indiana, Mingo County, West Virginia, and that's like just what I have here on this one data sheet that I put together. So who knows what else is happening that hasn't been reported on yet or that I just haven't come across. That's pretty much all I wanted to say about that, but actually hearing Josh, and is it Brian? Brian? Rick. Okay, I don't know where I got Brian from. I'm pretty inspired by that because I remember 2020 and everything that was happening in Minneapolis, and I think we all do. And then how that quickly moved right over to our beautiful little town of Kenosha. And I remember being in school in Boston and going the first couple years, I would say I'm from Kenosha, Wisconsin, and people would say, oh, Wisconsin. I've never heard of Kenosha for the most part. But after Jacob Blake and everything that happened around that time, going back to school and saying I was from Kenosha had a much different reaction. And so hearing them talk about ICE and DHS as a whole and how we've seen it decimate Minneapolis and how the brave people of Minneapolis have fought back just kind of inspires me to add my voice to that cause today. I do think it's really important that everyone in Kenosha that has any kind of leadership position, ability, friends in high places, literally anything at all, to be proactive about that and to let others know and to speak out that ICE is not welcome here, at least as far as I'm concerned, and I know many citizens aren't. And just to protect our city from reliving that 2020 again in a different way. Thank you.
Thank you. Please continue.
B, communications, petitions, reports of departments. B1, approval of the following applications. A, 25 operators licenses. B2, special class B beer and/or special class B wine licenses.
Gentleman from the 16th.
Yay. I'll make a motion to approve.
It's been moved and second to approve item B1. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
B2, conditional use permit amendment for a shelter facility located at 4314 39th Avenue.
Gentleman from the third.
Thank you. I move to approve B2. Well, may I amend that motion and also include B3?
After being read, yes.
Go ahead.
B3, conditional use permit for a tattoo and body piercing establishment located at 7611 Pershing Boulevard.
Okay, at this time, open up to a public hearing. Anyone here speaking on item B2 or B3, please come forward, state your name and address.
Good evening. My name is Esther Roberts, 2775 11th Place in Kenosha, Wisconsin. I'm here to speak on behalf of the Shalom Center for the conditional use permit to allow 13, to change the zoning to residential at night for Hope Hub, and also to add 3 more beds to what we have right now is 10, so we'd have 13 able to sleep overnight in the Hope Hub. Thank you. And I'll be here if you have any questions on that. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else on B2 or B3?
Hi, my name is Jamie Walden. My address is 6545 54th Ave. I am here for B3 for the conditional use permit. I'm here if you guys have any questions or anything. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else on items B2 or B3? Anyone else? Anyone else? Seeing none, close the public hearing. Motion on the floor is approval of item B2 and B3. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
C, recommendations from the Committee on Licenses and Permits. C1, applications for new operators licenses. A, Madison Fuentes, 40. B, Kyle Johnson, 80.
Gentleman from the 16th.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I concur with the recommendation of license and permits on C1, C2, and C3.
C2, application of Balls and Racks LLC for a probationary cabaret license located at 2232 Roosevelt Road with no adverse recommendations from the Police Department. C3, application of Hat Tricks LLC for a yearly cabaret license located at 2425 60th Street with no adverse recommendations from the Police Department.
Okay, at this time, open up to a hearing. Anyone here speaking items C1, 2, or 3, please come forward, state your name and address. Anyone here to speak? Anyone here to speak? Seeing none, close the hearing. Motion on the floor is concurrence. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
C4, findings of fact, conclusions of law, and recommendations to suspend the license for 30 consecutive days and assess 85 demerit points against the license in the matter of the Class B beer, Class B liquor license for El Patio Restaurant, Inc., located at 3200 60th Street.
Gentleman from the 16th.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, due to the closeness of our vote, I'd like to go into a closed session regarding this item pursuant to item number 19.851A and B of the Wisconsin State Statute.
Is there a second to go into closed session? Second. On your laptop, sir? Okay, the motion on the floor is to go into closed session. Any discussion on that motion? Seeing none, we don't need a roll call on that, do we, Matt? Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? We are in closed session. That means I have to ask that everyone, Father Dom here is going to escort you all. As soon as we're back. We good? Okay, we are back in open session. Thank you, everyone, for your patience as we deliberated. Gentleman from the 16th, do you have a motion to make, sir?
Yeah, I concur with the recommendation to approve facts and findings and for C4.
Moved and seconded to concur with license permit on the findings of fact, conclusion of law, and recommendations. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
F, zoning ordinances first reading. F1, rezoning ordinance by the mayor to rezone the property at 7611 Pershing Boulevard from B1 Neighborhood Business District to B2 Community Business District.
Gentleman from the 3rd.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, whoops, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the 3rd and Mr. President.
Thank you, Your Honor. I move to send F1 on its way after being read.
On your laptop, sir?
I did.
No, you did not. Now you did.
I thought I had.
Move to second to send item F1 on its way. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
I, resolutions. I1, resolutions by the Committee on Finance to levy special charges. A, boarding and securing, $671.50. B, trash and debris removal, $783.96. C, property maintenance reinspection fees, $1,752. D, building and zoning reinspection fees, $2,120. Finance recommended to approve 6-0.
Gentleman from the 13th, do you have a motion on I1?
Yes, sir. I move to concur with the Finance Committee recommendations on items I1 and I2 after being read.
Okay. Please continue.
I2, resolution by principal sponsor Alderperson Keith W. Rosenberg, additional co-sponsor added Alderperson Wilson, to urge opposition to the Federal Communications Commission's proposed rule entitled Build American, Eliminating Barriers to Wireless Deployments. Finance recommended to approve 6-0.
Okay, motion on the floor is concurrence. I have to open up to a hearing on item I1. Anyone here speak on item I1, please come forward, state your name and address. Anyone here to speak? Anyone here to speak? Seeing none, close the hearing. Gentleman from the 9th.
Thank you, Your Honor. This resolution before us kind of came together from a situation in my district about a cell tower that's being placed on the Encounter Church property, which is the church itself is in the city, but the property is in Pleasant Prairie. So I'm fighting that fight with Pleasant Prairie along with my neighbors. I was contacted by many of my neighbors that are totally against the cell tower. And with this resolution, hopefully we can get the federal government to push them to change the rules. So I believe this rule from the FCC basically is pointing towards rural, cell towers versus urban. We already have a cell tower at Anderson Park, a cell tower at Schulte Park, and then there's a cell tower at the Village Hall, Pleasant Prairie. There's a 100% coverage for this proposed Verizon cell tower at the Encounter Church. And I would first like to make a motion to open it up to a public hearing because some of my neighbors came late and would like to make some comments about this.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to open up item I2 for public hearing. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Yeah. Aye.
Any opposed? Open up item I2 for a public hearing. Anyone here speaking on item I2, please come forward, state your name and address.
Hi, everybody. I don't have a prepared statement, but I am Patty Hall. I live at 9120 33rd Avenue in the city of Kenosha. And up until about 6 weeks ago, I had no idea about cell phone tower placement until I heard about the possibility of it happening in our neighborhood. I have been working with Alderman Rosenberg. I have been working with Board Supervisor Morrissey, but also he's the administrator here too. And while we've been meeting with lawyers, we've been meeting with the environmental health group out of Michigan, city planners, we've been meeting with all sorts of people and finding out about the negative impacts of a cell phone tower in our neighborhood. But more importantly, with the resolution that Alderman Rosenberg is trying to bring to the floor, it would give more control to the local government, because right now, if a proposed cell phone tower is going to be in your neighborhood, as long as it fits all the boxes and checks all the boxes, then it can go in the neighborhood. And Verizon's not living here. Towers LLC, who wants to build this tower, isn't living here. We're living here. And so we are looking to have this resolution passed to give more power to us in the community, to have more say as to where these towers should be placed. We have checked the FCC maps, and where we are, and where this proposed tower is proposed to go, has 100% in-home and in-vehicle coverage. So it's unfortunately a money grab. It's not because of placement. It's not needed in our neighborhood. There's other places and there's other alternatives that haven't been looked at. So that's all I have. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Anyone else on item I2? Please come forward, state your name and address.
I had no idea this was on the agenda tonight. And I only know vaguely a little bit about 5G towers and the negative health impact that accompanies the installation of these towers and the health issues of the people who live around them. I'm about 4 blocks away from it. Alderman Rosenberg is closer than that. I would advise you all to educate yourselves about the health impacts of 5G towers and act accordingly. Follow your conscience.
Greg, I'm sorry, go ahead.
What I found frightens me a little bit, and I'll just leave it at that.
Greg, can we get your address again, please?
I'm still at 8638 32nd Avenue.
I'm just making the clerk happy, that's all. Anyone else on item I2? Anyone else here to speak? Anyone else? Seeing none, close the public hearing. Gentleman from the 9th?
Thank you, Your Honor, and thank you for everybody opening up to a public hearing. As I said, we've been fighting this between myself and the mayor. I saw this little clipping that was sent to me by one of my neighbors in December, basically a public notice for this cell tower. And I reached out to the mayor. He knew nothing about it, and we've been like chasing rabbits, and it's kind of a gray zone because, again, this is going to be in Pleasant Prairie. I did approach the village. I went to the village meeting, and actually my neighbors were also at the meeting, basically trying to get the village board to stop this. Again, there's no need for a cell tower, not in this location. It is a money grab for the church. Unfortunately, the church has been a very bad neighbor to the neighborhood. They recently opened up a school, and bad parking, they didn't for parents dropping on and off school through, 34th Avenue. So again, they've just been a bad neighbor. And I'm fighting for my neighbors, and if this happened in your neighborhood, I would be right with you. Cell tower's not needed there, just because, like I said, we have 100% coverage, and just letting everybody know with this resolution, we're basically giving our opinion to our federal elected, Tammy Baldwin, Ron Johnson, and Brian Stile, our opinion to basically hopefully change the law or the rule from the FCC and get it better interpreted, because I believe the way it is written is designed for more like a rural, like out in the county or an area where they don't have cell phone coverage, not in the city. And I would welcome any co-sponsors and look for your support. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Lady from the 8th.
With the sponsor's blessing, I would like to be a co-sponsor.
Okay, thank you. Gentleman from the 16th.
Yeah, I got two things. Yes, I'd like to be a co-sponsor. Also, this takes it out of the city's hands. We had a good, probably 2 or 3 cases that I can remember with cell towers going up. We fought and made them look like trees. One of them's in Whitecaps, and one of them is in one of the parks near Carthage. They wanted to put a cell tower in Carthage, and Carthage told them no. So they came to the city. There's a park across the street from Carthage. They wanted to put a cell tower there. They did, but we insisted that it looked like a tree. And after some back and forth, they agreed. So if this gets into the government's hands, we can't tell them where to put it and how to put it and make it look like anything that looks nice. So I'm in support of it. Thank you.
Gentleman from the 11th.
I'd like to be co-sponsor.
Okay. Anyone else? Gentleman from the 3rd.
Thank you. You may add me as a co-sponsor.
Okay. Anyone else? Seeing none, I just first of all, I want to commend Alderperson Rosenberg for bringing this resolution forward. But I want to make sure that we're clear. There's 2 separate things here, and both are bad. Obviously, what Alderman Rosenberg is dealing with in his district and the constituents in his district are dealing with. Again, I commend you for going and speaking. I have had numerous conversations with the village as well. I know you have, and been to their board, and we're going to hopefully try to deal with that issue. What's in front of you right now, this resolution, which I will tell everyone, there's also a companion resolution, which is sponsored by County Board Supervisor Morrissey, which is where he is right now, with this a resolution that the county board essentially is urging the same opposition to this from the county level. This new regulation, this new proposed rule essentially wipes out any local control for anything. So what's happening in Alderman Rosenberg's district is bad enough. If this rule is put in place, this could happen in every district, in every place all across the city. So it's important for us to stand up and support Alderman Rosenberg and his constituents on the issue he's dealing with. But this resolution for this new proposed rule is extremely important for us to send a clear message. I've sent this to other communities around as well to try to get their efforts. I've also had conversations with some of our federal partners on this issue already as well. This rule, which is being put in place, is one of those that's kind of being done sort of quietly and needs to be brought to light because, again, this could be brought to a district near you anytime if this is put in place. So I would urge everyone here that if this is approved here tonight, obviously we're going to share this with our federal partners. I would encourage everyone who is watching and listening to share this because you may find yourself in a situation that Alderman Rosenberg is fighting for right now or against. So we need you to help share this information with your friends and family because it might not be you today, but it could be you tomorrow. With that, motion on the floor is concurrence on I-1 and I-2, which is to approve. All those in favor will vote aye. Those opposed, no. Roll call, please.
Motion carries 15-0. I-3, resolution by the Committee on Public Works to order the cost of public sidewalk and/or driveway approach construction and/or replacement to be specially assessed to abutting property for project 26-1041 35th Avenue resurfacing.
Gentleman from the 15th.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I make a motion to concur with the findings of Public Works on I-3 and I-4 after being read.
I-4, resolution by the Committee on Public Works, preliminary resolution declaring intent to levy assessments for sidewalks and/or driveway approaches for project 26-1046, 87th Place, and 26th Avenue resurfacing.
Okay, at this time, we'll open up to a public hearing. Anyone here speaking on item I-3, please come forward, state your name and address. Anyone here to speak? Anyone here to speak? Seeing none, Close the public hearing. Motion on the floor is concurrence, I3 and I4. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor will vote aye, those opposed no. Roll call, please.
Motion carries 15-0. I5, resolution by the Committee on Public Safety and Welfare to rescind resolution number 248-84 and to designate as no parking here to corner on the east side of 34th Avenue for a total of 195 feet south of 60th Street.
Gentleman from the 5th.
Thank you, Your Honor. Make a motion to approve I-5, I-6, and I-7 after being read by, recommended by Public Safety and Welfare. Thank you.
I6, resolution by the Committee on Public Safety and Welfare to designate as no parking here to corner on the west side of 20th Avenue for a total of 125 feet north of 52nd Street. I7, resolution by the Committee on Public Safety and Welfare to designate as no parking this side on the south side of 70th Street from 30th Avenue to 31st Avenue.
Okay, at this time, motion on the floor is concurrence with public safety and welfare, I-5, 6, and 7. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor will vote aye, those opposed no. Roll call, please.
Alderperson DeBear. Okay, motion carries 15-0. J, appointments, reappointments by the mayor. J1, appointment of Chelsea Solis to the Kenosha Lakeshore Business Improvement Board of Directors to fill an unexpired term that will begin February 19, 2026 and will expire November 18, 2027.
Motion? Moved and second to approve item J1. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor will vote aye, those opposed no. Roll call, please.
Motion carries 15-0. K, public construction and improvement contracts. K1, award of project 25-1428, Roosevelt Park Sports Court improvements to KR Contractors LLC in the amount of $110,628.
Gentleman from 15th.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I make a motion to concur with the findings of Public Works on K1.
Moved and second to concur on K1. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor will vote aye, those opposed no. Roll call, please.
Motion carries 15-0. K2, award of contract for project 25-1532, Uptown Library roof replacement rebid to the Gardner Company, Inc. in the amount of $71,200.
Gentleman from the 15th.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I know this has come before Public Works, and after reviewing the updated information that we have received, I would go ahead and like to make a motion to deny based on the updated information. Thank you.
Second.
Moved and seconded to deny, which effectively we're rejecting the bids on this item.
Right.
Any discussion? Gentleman from the 3rd.
Thank you, Your Honor. So people just, it isn't a rancorous situation here. They came to the Historic Preservation Commission, and the proposal was not acceptable to that commission. And in order to come with something that would be more in keeping with the historical nature of the building, they could not continue with the bid as it was originally offered, so they want to rebid the process. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Seeing none, motion on the floor would be to deny. All those in favor say aye, or will vote aye. Those opposed, no. Roll call, please.
Yea to deny.
And I vote is to deny.
Motion carries 15-0. L, other contracts and agreements. L1, aquatic management agreement by and between Lake and Pond Solutions LLC and the City of Kenosha Parks Department.
Gentleman from the first. Alderman Haugard, First District. Motion on L1, sir.
Yeah, motion to concur with the recommendations of the Parks Department, or Parks Commission.
It's been moved and seconded to concur with Parks on L1. Any discussion? Seeing none. Oh, gentleman from the 16th.
Yeah, can somebody enlighten me on what we're voting on this subject? Maybe Katie from the Parks or exactly
Ms. Elder?
What it is?
This agreement will allow this Lake and Pond Solutions to go out to our ponds to make sure that they are free of algae and that they basically look nice.
That's all of our ponds and retention ponds too? Is that all of it or just our ones in the parks?
No, it's only Porio, Anderson, and Lincoln.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? If not, motion on the floor is concurrence. All those in favor will vote aye. Those opposed, no. Roll call, please.
Motion carries 15-0. M, recommendations from the Committee on Finance. M1, disbursement record number 2, $9,426,838.42. Finance recommended to approve 6-0.
Gentleman from the 13th.
Move to concur with Finance Committee recommendation to approve M1.
Moved and seconded to concur on M1. Any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor will vote aye. Those opposed, no. Roll call, please.
Motion carries 15-0. N, recommendations from the Committee on Public Works. N1, acceptance of project 21-1029, 22nd Avenue reconstruction uptown, which has been satisfactorily completed by Lalonde Contractors, Inc. The final amount of the contract is $6,203,672.08.
Gentleman from the 15th.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Make a motion to concur with the findings of Public Works to approve N1, N2, and N3 after being read.
Second.
N2, change order for project 24-1430 Armory Building at Hobbs Park asphalt repairs. Finance also recommended to approve 6-0. N3, acceptance of project 24-1430 Armory Building at Hobbs Park asphalt repairs, which has been satisfactorily completed by A.W. Oaks and Son, Inc. The final amount of the contract is $83,619.29.
Okay, any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor will vote aye. Those opposed, no. Roll call, please.
Alderperson DeBear. Motion carries 15-0.
Okay, alderperson's comments. Or a motion to adjourn to be in order on your laptop.
Move to adjourn.
Moved and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor say aye. We stand adjourned. Thank you.